Where is she? Where has mine only daughter gone? Blank, good man, hast thou seen Cornelia? Worry not, Majesty. I shall make sure Cornelia marries Prince Schneider. Be thou at ease. At ease, sayest thou? How can I rest not knowing she is safe? Could it be thou hast betrayed me? By my troth, sure, I betrayed none other than poor Marcus. Thou hast the gall to betray thy dearest friend. Wouldst thou not betray me as swiftly? Stay thy hand, I merely sought a lasting peace between the two kingdoms. The traitor is dead. Oh, cruel fate! You two, quickly find Cornelia and bring her before me. Yes, your majesty. Wretched daughter, how dare she disobey your father's wishes? The time for our departure is long past. Where is Cornelia? Marcus, the ship soon embarks. Board ye this boat alone, and peace could come to both kingdoms, as Blank so said. Speak, Marcus! She told me that she could not live without me. So the sun is our enemy too. The eastern sky grows bright. Will we not spread our wings as yonder birds enjoy his flight? Hark, Marcus, they cannot wait any longer. The ship departs! Could she have betrayed me? Nay, ne'er would my love speak false. I must have faith. She shall appear if I only believe. As the sun lends me no ear, I pray instead to the twin moons. I beseech thee, wondrous moonlight, grant me my only wish. Bring my beloved Lexi to me. How did you survive? I didn't have a choice. I had to live. I wanted to come home to you. So, I sang your song. Our song. And that's the game. That is Final Fantasy IX. One of my favorite RPGs of all time. There's so much good happening in this game, so I'm just gonna rave about it for a while, and we'll get to flaws a little bit later, but the flaws are not many by comparison. The thing that stands out the most to me in this game is its style, and I do enjoy the style. It's definitely a return to something a little bit more unrealistic, more fantasy-driven, more fantastic, if you want to use that word, by comparison to Final Fantasy 7 and 8, which were definitely more realistic. And I appreciate it. When I first played the game, I didn't appreciate it because I had only played Final Fantasy 7 and 8, so I thought Final Fantasy, well, meant something different. I thought it was only what Final Fantasy 7 and 8 were. So the first time I played it, I didn't get a lot of the references. Looking at it now, this game is chock full of them. I didn't even get a chance to point out all of them. There are just so many references in this game to previous Final Fantasy games, from the play being a reference to the opera in Final Fantasy VI, I mean, I don't even want to talk about all the references because some of them are spoilers to the previous Final Fantasy games. Just know that pretty much everything in this game is a reference to a previous Final Fantasy game. It feels that way. It really does. So we get to relive our journey through all the little cutscenes. I think the cutscenes are fantastic. I should point out that I do love the music in this game, and I do apologize that I have to talk over the cutscene music, the end of game music, which is a lot of people's favorite music in all of Final Fantasy, let alone this game. I'll put a link in the description if you just want to hear it without me ruining it by talking over it. But Uematsu does a great job. Yet again, as far as I know, I have yet to play a game that Uematsu did the score for that I wasn't absolutely impressed with, and this is no exception. The game has great music, it has great style. One of the things that I think it does better than the previous Final Fantasies that we have played is that I think it does a great job of distinction between the different characters, the different towns. That I'm still amazed by, because if you name a town, I can tell you a lot about it. Right? Even years later, because it stands out, it's different, as opposed to the other games where the towns were different, but not different enough so that you could readily recognize the difference, right? If I just took a random screenshot inside of a town and took all the characters away, you might confuse a couple of the towns. Here in Final Fantasy IX, that's not really gonna happen. Every town is distinct, with the exception of possibly Alexandria and Lindblum. They all really do stand out. Another thing that I think they do really well here is provide a lot of emotional cutscenes, which is really difficult to do when you don't have voice acting or really any dialogue whatsoever, right? None of their cutscenes, outside of the very end of the game, none of the full motion videos, I should say, had any dialogue in it whatsoever, right? All that we're seeing here was done without any vocal expression from any of the characters, yet their facial expressions conveyed emotions really well, and that's something that does stand out to me. There are some of the best cutscenes in the game as a result of that. Well, some of the best cutscenes of the series, I should say, are in this game, and it's because a lot of things happen without the reliance on voice, and that's a really difficult thing to do, and they do it very well here. So, I mean, graphics, sound, so much of this is so good. I should probably start talking about some of the lesser things about this game in my eyes, right? This is all just my opinion, and you can disagree with me all day. But for one thing, for me, I felt that a lot of the abilities were kind of overpowered, especially things like auto regen and auto haste. I thought those were pretty overpowered. Even at the end of the game, it felt like I didn't have a lot of difficulty thanks to those abilities. Also, in terms of the battle system, I would say that it was difficult, at least for me, maybe not for other people, but it's difficult for me to discern when the opponent is going to get a turn, when that boss is going to get a turn, especially towards the end of the game when they start getting 2, 3, 4 turns in a row, and it feels like I've done a lot of queuing up to attack, and it didn't really matter because the boss just squeezed in a turn here and there. So that was a difficulty for me. I know it's a difficulty for other people, but maybe not for everybody. But that was a difficulty for me. Also for me, I felt like there were definitely a lot of references in the game that were obscure. I mean, not necessarily like to an obscure game, like let's say Final Fantasy 2 or 3, but to an obscure part of those games. And it was difficult, and sometimes it felt like it was a reference instead of a natural part of the game. But those, like I said, those are so small by comparison. Yeah, we're getting to the end of the cutscene here. So overall, just a great game. I mean, the side characters were even fantastic. The regular characters were fantastic. You know their motives for the most part, with the exception of, like, you know, Stefan and Kermit, who, even to this day, I'm like, why were they along? I'm still not entirely sure. Kermit's along for food, but what does that have to do with all the battling that we did? Stefan is there for great stuff, but, you know, he doesn't want to really share his motives. Ultimately, though, fantastic game. If you have not checked it out, I really do highly recommend it, especially for Final Fantasy fans. If you have played all 8 previous Final Fantasies, you cannot skip this one. This one wraps it all up in a nice little bundle. And that is Final Fantasy IX. And we do get a very traditional looking end screen. There is something special about this end screen, but we will go over that some other time. That is going to do it for these parts of Let's Play Final Fantasy IX. We do have a lot of bonus videos to go over. There are definitely some things that I did not go over in the normal playthrough, so we will be going through those in the bonus videos. But I hope you guys have enjoyed all the parts that we have done so far. Hope you guys have really did. Well, I hope you really did enjoy them. I've been Baller Scuba. I've been joined, as always, by our champions, which today were Ronaldo, Mistral, Stefan, and Kermit. Hope you guys have enjoyed these parts. Hope you laughed. Hope you learned. Hope to see you next time for bonus videos. Thanks for watching.